The topics what we will start is based on the function, and we already saw the about function. Jagendra, it's working for you? So I'll write a program, simple program. I'll write with the help of function. Let's begin with some examples, practical examples. So we'll start with this def keyword. This def keyword will help you to define the function. So I'll write def list of some numbers. Suppose this is a function name. It can be anything. So here we will pass num list. So the num list is the data where you will have a list of data. So here we will store the sum equal to 0, and we'll use for loop for in num list. Num list is what? Basically num list is uh, object is list, so which have multiple value. With the help of this for loop, we will try to update the value of num list here here. Yes, and return the data. So here I'm returning the data, the sum. So this is the sum we will return, and we will pass these functions. Remember, we have created this function, Jagdish. We have created this simple function which will accept num list, and in that num list, we will store a list of data, and each data we will fetch through for loop. Okay, sum of numbers. So we'll try with this example here. Suppose I want to call this function, so I'll say result r. It can be any name. Sum in bracket some values. So that value should be data. So here I'll specify my data. It can be 3, 4, some values. Okay, so this value I'll pass here data, and then it will store data into r, into that data variable. And when we pass this data, it will goes to this function, and from this function we will fetch one by one each value, and we'll try to calculate sum of numbers. And after calculating this all numbers, we will return this value, the sum. The sum is a variable which holds the sum of all values. So 2 plus 4 plus 12 plus 5 plus 1, how much it may be? 100 suppose. So that value will store in this the sum variable, and that value we will return it. So that value is stored in this r. So I just want to print that r. So I'll use r, and then that's it. Sum of number is whatever the value we have. So we'll try with this example, and then we'll check it. So I'll go with the prompt. I'll go with this command prompt, and from that command prompt we will run this program. So this program take you a few things. Remember here. So when you run this program for fun1.5, so this is simple program. We can do this thing through for loop. Now in this program, what we understand we can pass an argument as a list, one thing, and with the help of list we can perform some of numbers in that list, and then whatever the value we return, we'll display the value. Same thing we can perform, same thing with the help of for while loop. With the help of without loop, can anybody give me a hint in that what we require to do this thing? If I want to perform sum of numbers in particular data, so what will we will require without loop? Is there anyone? Any hint? Little bit.
We can use add function, right? Other than that,
Add.
yeah, we can use the add function. Add function.
Not add function. Basically, we need to iterate the value from this argument, right?
Yeah.
So we need to fetch one by one each values, and
Oh,
from
okay.
that value we again need to perform this again and again and again operation. Iterative process we need to perform. So remember, for this uh, we will use recursion. We will use recursion. Recursion is a technique which help us to make as a iterative process. It is used for iterative process. Remember, what is the purpose of iteration? We require for this type of example where we will fetch each value, and again we will call this functionality. Whatever we return in line number 4, again and again we need to call this functionality, and we need to fetch from this collection. Each value we need to fetch from that collection. So let me tell you what is the value of this, how we can represent 4 data of 1, right? So like that we will represent. And if you want to get the value, we will use symbol. I'll show you how. See, consider this is our data. Here we have our data. Now with this data, what we will do, we'll store in this variable data. Now if I try with data of 0, what I will get? Obviously 2, right? Now here, if I specify 1 colon and enter, so I'll get not 2 but other values. I'll get other values. Remember, and that values will pass it to another method. Remember, so what is recursion? Recursion is an iterative process, and in best definition, what we say, function call itself. If this function list sum is a function which call itself, that is called recursion. So let me tell you one example, so it will be good for us. Def list of sums, in that case sum with recursion, so I'll use rec, in bracket I'll pass some value. It can be any name, nl, any value, any variable name, and that variable name we'll need to use in future also. So ln of nl is equal to 0. Remember, equal to 1, sorry, equal to 1. Then return a num list of 0 position. What do you mean by this thing? If there is only one element in this collection, whatever we are passing the data, if there is only one element in this collection, so that element will return it. So basically that is what, and that is the sum. Remember, and if this condition is not satisfied, we'll go with else part, and then here we will specify another condition. Return, or I'll use result is equal to return is equal, in bracket, a num list of 0 position, whatever the value of num list, plus same function. Which function? List sum record. Now see, what is recursion? The definition of what I said you, function call itself is called recursion. So I'm calling function, it's inside that function. So this is called recursion. But this time I will give less than one value. Remember, whatever value I have, I will pass with less than n minus 1. So first of all, I will pass all value. Second time, I will pass only 4, 12, 55 and 1. And third time, I will pass only 12, 5 and 1. Fourth time, I will pass only this 5 and 1. And last time, I will pass only 1. Like this will pass. So for that reason, we'll use num list of 1 colon. What in by this thing? We already know. Means less than one record. Less than one record. Whatever the value is start, it is start with 0. Remember. So we are going with, instead of 0, we are going with 1. So it will start less than 1. So when I try to do the same thing, I just will call list some records, and then I'll pass my data. Same data I'll pass, and then I'll check the value. So what would be the output? Obviously, output is same. So let's try with this example. Remember this thing, data 1 colon. This is very important. Data 1 colon. That means we don't want all values, less than one value we want. So when you pass this value, this will call again one function, and that time it should not have 2, and then again it will call this function, so that time it should not have 4. Like that, one by one, each element will remove from there. This is important question. Multiple times in interview they will ask you this type of questions. So remember, you should know the process. The process is what? It will take your first element, and from here it will pass one another function call, and then it will give you n minus 1 value. Start minus 1. Okay, so let's try this example. So output is same, remember, but the process is little bit different. So this is using recursion, and this is without recursion. And in this case, what we have, the process we need to understand. So guys, you understand this process? or any question, any doubt you have?
I have a doubt, like if you are saying that n1 of one colon, right, it will return whatever the from second element to until last element, right? Then how it will add with the n1 of 0?
N1 of 0. So here we are adding here. While
Okay, n1 of 0 is 2, right?
yes, yes, and N1 of 0 is basically first time it will take as a 2.
2, okay.
And then next time 4, then 12, then 5, then 1, like this.
Okay.
So remember, I'll just describe here also. It is very important, so that's why I'm going in detail more and more times. So first time it will call this function is in this format. So the data is basically this format first time. Who called this function first time? Who called this function first time? This line. Remember, this line first time it will call like this. In next step, when you call again this function, where in this scenario, what happened? It will wait for to process this data. Remember, it will wait for to process this data. If your data result will come here, then it will calculate whatever the result plus this value. It should wait. Why wait? Because this is calling another function. So here it will not return the value immediately. It will wait and it will try to process this value. Again it will go with some another function. Again it will go in another function. So basically you need to tell this is using stack. What is stack? It is like first in, last out. Who is going first time? It will go last time, like glass, right? So here first in, last out. Philo. So with the help of stack, they are trying to store this value in a stack. First time it will store in a stack this value. So first time a stack will store this value. That means it will store 2. It will store 2. Then plus this 2. This meaning is what? 2 plus, and then it will wait for this result. What is the value we are passing here? In this case, we are passing only these values except 2. So we are passing again these values except 2. So now when you call this function, again we have another result 4, then same value. And now this time they don't have 4 and 2, they have only 12. Then again they are calling this function, and that time they are using 0 as 12, and then again they are passing this function. So like
each time while iterating,
it will reduce one value.
Take the latest value there, right?
Right. So it will n minus 1. So what do you mean by this thing? This means it will reduce the value. Remember, so I have my data. Data is this much of data. When I pass data of 1, what do you mean by this thing? That means remove first element and give me other all elements.
Yeah. This way you said, like, while you are saying about the list, right?
Yes. So so in this time it will take again 5 and then plus, then the value, and this time only one value will come. So now remember what we have written this for this type of value. What we return one condition. If the value length of this ln, the collection, whatever you have collection, the length of that collection is 1, that means return 0th value, that means 1. So here it will return 1. So automatically what happen? This all value will start processing. So here it will remove this condition and it will keep it as a 1. Then again it will try to process these values, and this will removed, and again 5 plus 1 is 6, so it will come here 6, sorry, 6. Then 12 plus 6, so that much value will replace with this statement. And who is waiting for this, it will calculate with this value, and then again and again and again. So sum of values whatever 24 will come to this position directly. So here it will add one by one each expressions. You can say this is expression which is we will resolve later, and then after adding this expression it will eat one expression one by one, like first in last out. Who is going in last, so that will eat first time, then again this element, then again this, like that it will try to remove it and calculate these all values, and at the end it will generate one result which is 24 in this case. Getting my point? Or any question, any doubt, guys? Hello?
No, they're okay. I'm okay.
Okay. So let's try with another function which is called lambda. We I forget to tell you one another function we have, means in lambda we have another thing called lambda functions. Lambda also have some different functions. So number one we have called map function in lambda. We already seen, but again we'll just revise it. Mat function in lambda. So what in by mat function? Remember two things we have here. The format of this math function is basically it will return list of elements, okay, and then it will take argument as two. One is processing and another is data. Data can be any collection type, and here processing you can use as a function or lambda. Let me tell you one example. In this case we'll go with the example. Suppose we'll write def, I'll write one simple function def f1, and then this function will just display the message or take one value and display that value by 1, increase by 1. That's it. Okay, simple function. Now here we have data. Data is already written, so I'll not go with to process again data. Okay, now here I'm passing n equal to map of that function name. The function name is f1, and then the values whatever we want to pass. So here I'm passing value is in a form of data function, and that's it. Now I'll try to print these values in list of n. So this is the result. Each time it will increase by 1. So we have 2, we are getting 3. 5, we have 4, we are getting 5. So here we can write a process, remember processing part, and that can be done through function also, means through lambda also. It's not necessary to go with a simple function. You can use def sorry, f2 is equal to lambda and then x colon x plus 1 as usual we written. So instead of writing this thing we can use this f2 also, no issue. So this is your lambda. You can store it or you can directly call here. You can pass here directly. So this is possible with Lambda function. So let's try same output, but and the code is different. Okay, you're getting any question, guys? Hello,
Yeah,
any
no.
question?
No.
Haha. So let's try with another functions, which is little bit different or tricky questions we'll take, which is coming in interviews usually. So what we'll do, we'll take a value, and that value we will pass into the function, and then based on that function we will do some operations on it. Let me try with the example. Here is an example. I'll go with Python, and then in terminal I'll write p is equal to, and then the value. So that value is in a list format, but here we have a collection. So what in by this thing? Can you help me, guys? 1 comma 1. So what is this type? P is what type of P? Help me while writing. You can, huh? Yes.
Key comma value pair, right?
String.
Huh. So what is the type of this collection?
Dictionary.
Right.
What is the type of this collection? This is also
Right.
collection, right? And what is the type of this collection? If I'm designing like this, so what is the type? It is tuple or key, dictionary or list. What is the type?
Dictionary.
If I write type in bracket P, so what I'll get? Dictionary. Sure.
Yeah.
I think tuple key value, right?
So this is a tricky question. Yes, I understand, but a little bit different we'll get here. Basically, we'll get a list. Remember, the AND value is important. List. In that list, whatever you are returning, these are the elements. It can be single value or it can be a multiple value. Remember, these are the elements for a list. If I pass P of 0, what I will get? 1 comma double quotation 1. Yes, this is my first element in this collection. Remember. So with the help of this, we can find out the result. Now, Lambda will help us to do some operation on it, basically with the help of list. So we have in list sort function, which will give you based on key equal to Lambda, and then P colon 1. This is my key of P. So a little bit tricky, but it is very interesting. So what in by this thing? Uh, Remember, sort require a key. Sort is a function. We already saw function as default argument. In that we need to pass, sometime we need to pass the argument name and then value. So this is my value. Remember, for this sort method, we are trying to call, and in this case, key is an argument name which they already written in sort, which is already defined function. There are two types of function. Remember, one is already defined function and another is user defined function. So I never define this function, but this defined by somebody else. So Python built-in function called sort, and it will take one argument, and that argument is called key. How I know? Because I am passing argument name equal to some value. This is my value, and in this case we are passing the key what we required. So if I write here only this thing, so if we pass this value, we'll get these all elements. Okay, now here if I check the value, now if I check the value, suppose uh, P, so what I will get? Something different. Why? Because it is sorted by key. Key is first element, so first element is this one. 0 element if I return, then I'll get sorting by digits. not string. This is basically string 4 1 THRE3 and TW. So it is automatically sort with a particular number, and in this case the number is my string. Getting my point? Hello?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're getting.
So, now another thing is what we can do some operations on this string with the help of some another variables, like I'll go with the map function, what we are talking about, map and then a result, and here I'll pass lambda or as usual x comma y and then x plus y. So I need to pass two arguments, remember, and both argument will calculated and will get one return result. That means I need to pass two arguments. In map we usually use single argument, but sometimes we require to pass multiple values and combine these values together, like here I'm combining, or you can subtract, or you can do some operation on two objects using this technique. So here in this case I'm taking two arguments, that means I'm taking two objects. Why? Because map required two things, processing and data. So in this case this is my processing and this is my data. Okay, so processing and data. So in processing we need to pass some processing. Here I'm passing this value. So remember, we have only one data. This is my one data. So that data is passed to x one by one by one. Each element will pass it to x. So first time in x what we will get? 2, then 4, then 12, then 5, and then 1. So each time one by one each value will goes and it will pass it to x, and x will this lambda will return whatever the value you pass plus 1. So here I'm passing 2, so I'll get 3. Here I'm passing 4, then I'm getting 5. Like that I'll get the values. Now in this case here I'll get all values. So same thing we need to perform, but now in this case we have only one argument. We are passing one data and one argument. Okay, so one argument. So in this we need something little bit advanced, so we'll go with some two functions, and one and two. I'll pass a value 1 comma 2 comma 3, some values I'll pass here, and n2 is equal to some values like 4 comma 5 comma 6, like this. Now these two values we have. Now I'll do one thing in map and then lambda x comma y. So in x what I want to do n1, and in y what I want n2. So I'll do x plus y comma, what in by this comma, that means separated with data and processing. So this is called processing, remember, this is my processing and this is separated with. Now here I will pass my data. In this case we have two accepting values, so we should accept we should return pass two values here. So I'll pass here n1 comma n2. Getting my point? So these two values will goes to these arguments. So here I'm passing x comma y, and then these values calculated and return the result. Let's check. So we'll get this output: 4 plus 1, 1 plus 4 is equal to 5, 2 plus 5 is equal to 7, 3 plus 6 is equal to 9. So it will automatically calculate these values and we'll get the result. Okay, any question guys? Any question, any doubt? Very easy, but it is interesting. We need to know the capability of map method. This is the capability of map method. So in this case we can pass two arguments. If we are accepting two arguments, we need to pass two arguments. Remember, this is important thing. Okay,
So
okay.
you mean to say like a map is something, a built-in function of Python, like where we need to send one lambda expression along with the values that needs to be passed to that lambda expression. Is that correct?
Right. Yes. This meeting has no problem. So I'll keep this all code in one file. So later you can do practically on this part. Let's join tomorrow, Jagdish, because people they join from GoToMeeting, they are not able to accessible.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe of limited edition. I don't know. But from tomorrow onwards, we will use this Zoom meeting, so it would be good
Okay.
for us.
Okay. Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.